The Ottawa Charge lose 2-1 in regulation to the Toronto Scepters. 2-1 in regulation. We had, something like 30 shots. One goes in. I'm getting flashbacks. Get flashbacks to the start of the season, you know? Where we couldn't score. Look, we beat Seattle. That's good. We scored 2. Scored 1 this game. We went 0 for 4 on the power play today, 0 for 3 in the other game, 0 for 7 in our past 2 games on the power. Best power play in the league! 0 for 7! The scorers need to do the scoring, right? And that's been an issue the past little bit. We need a bit more scoring, now more than ever, because this is... it's when we gotta buckle in. It's the last little bit of the season. We have 6 games left. 6. This is it. Either you make it or you don't. I talked yesterday about memes. Really, I should have said their last video about memes, but what I should have said is narratives. We should talk about narratives. There is a narrative, an ongoing narrative, a continuous narrative with the New York Sirens. They collapse. They never just immediately are out of it. Remember last season? They were good, and then they weren't. Remember the first season? It was Toronto that everyone thought was going to be the terrible team that misses the playoffs. And then they went on a great streak, and New York just collapsed. New York was in it for a while. Fighting for a playoff spot for a while. Then they collapsed. I think another narrative has been generated. The Charge never make it easy. They will be given a golden opportunity to make their path to the playoffs nice and simple. To give themselves some breathing room. To make it nice and easy. To kind of end the playoff debate early. We win this game, especially in regulation. What debate? The Charge are making it. They've got a 4-point cushion with a game in hand. The Charge are making it. Or the one and only result that they have to avoid at all costs happens. A regulation loss. This is terrible for so many reasons. The biggest of which, in my opinion, isn't even that, we aren't in a playoff spot. Look, we've got the game in hand. We can get back in a playoff spot. No problem. Sure, just like win a game when Toronto doesn't. You face Toronto twice. Sure, just like beat them. But what if it comes down to a tie? You see, here's my thing. What if this is the situation going into the last game of the season? Which is feasible that from here on out, the Charge and the Scepters get the same amount of points. Oh wow, the Charge beat the Scepters, so they get 3 points, but we lose to the Victoire, and they beat the Sirens. Oh, but we beat the Torrent. Oh, but they beat the Sirens again. And we lose to the Fleet, and they lose to the Frost, and all of a sudden, you do the math. Oh, we say we win 2 more, they win 2 more. Say we win 3 more, they win 3 more. However, which way it happens, if we go into the last game of the season, 1 point back of Toronto, we are the ones that need to win in regulation. Going into this game, Toronto needed a regulation win. It was the only result where they would pull ahead of us. We win in regulation. Like I said, it gives us a 4-point padding. It gives us more than a game. But let's say, in this awful universe, Toronto still wins, but they do it in overtime. Instead of getting 3 points and us getting 0, they get 2, we get 1. We had a 2-point lead. So all that would happen is that we would have a 1-point lead. We would be able to keep that, and They would be 2 regulation wins ahead of us. Well, guess what? We have a game in hand, and we face them before the final game of the season. So how could we get that tiebreaker? How could we get that tiebreaker back? Well, let's be honest. It would require us beating Toronto in regulation twice. Which means if it is going to come down to a tiebreaker, that would mean that we go into the game against Toronto down 3 points, and we need to win in regulation just to force a tie. Any other result eliminates us. Otherwise, we will go into the final game of the season, and Toronto will hold the tiebreaker. So if we go in up 1 point, and they win in overtime, they get the playoffs. If they go in up 1 point and we win in overtime, they would make the playoffs. It means that now, in the last game of the season, our only option is win in regulation. Unless, between now and then, we give ourselves a bit more of a cushion. We go 2+ points. That's exactly it. We would need to be 2 points ahead of them. We would need to have a full... Now, again, that is doable. If we beat Montreal in regulation, that's our game in hand. We would be back to 2 points ahead of them, and it would be the same situation, right? They need to win in regulation to pull ahead. But it feels pretty uncomfortable, for me at least, that if we were to go up by 1 point, and we're a team that wins a lot of overtime games, you know? I've got this awful gut feeling that we're going to win against Montreal in the CTC in overtime. And in the moment, it'll be great, and my video will be awesome about how hype it was, how excited I was. It was the most awesome thing. And then that last game of the season will crawl up on us, sneak up on us, and we'll have that 1 point lead. And then I will feel the dread that, oh my gosh, we are the team that can't afford an overtime loss. Because they could win in overtime and make it. If we go into the last game of the season up 1 point, it becomes winner take all. It becomes straight up winner take all. Because if they win in overtime, they tie us. And then they hold the tiebreaker and they make the playoffs and we don't. Now, obviously, if we win in overtime, we just extend our lead. If we win in regulation, we just extend our lead. If they win in regulation, they completely take us over. But if they go in, if Toronto goes in 1 point ahead of us, unless we make up 3 regulation wins somehow, and we still go into the last game of the season with the playoffs not decided. You see what I mean? Okay, yes, maybe we could make up those 3 regulation wins without them getting any. So we would get 9 points, and what? What would they do? They'd have to get 8 points for it to still be competitive. They'd have to win basically every game going into the last game of the season in overtime specifically. So again, realistically, either we've made up the 3 regulation wins and that's it. There is no drama in the last game of the season, or we haven't. And the last game of the season means something, and look who holds tiebreaker. If Toronto goes in up by 1 point and the game goes to overtime, our season would end. Losing in regulation, this game is what allows that to happen. Because if we go in to the CTC down 2 regulation wins, easy. Beat Montreal in regulation, beat Toronto in regulation. There's those 2 missing regulation wins. It's gone. Because again, in order to get that 3rd one, well, yeah, then we would be sitting pretty. And that's the easy path. And what have we just learned? The Ottawa Charge do not take the easy path. The first season, the Charge had 3 games left. A regulation win, and they are in. They would make it. They booked their ticket. They had chance after chance after chance. And no, they had to extend it. They had to make it dramatic. Last season, and honestly this season, they did it double. Because in the first season, we actually did halfway through the season, or second season, halfway through the season, we had an easy option, which was we're the worst team in the league, honestly by a decent margin. We can just stink this year, tank, get first overall, and then we turned it around. We did not take, in this case, I'm glad we didn't take the easy path. But the easy path would have been, okay, we're dead last, we're like midway through the season, there's not much hope of us doing anything. Let's cut our losses and go home. And instead, we turned it on at the right moment and started winning games and climbed back into the playoff race. And again, last game of the season, we got it to a last game of the season where we needed to win. We did it in overtime. My goodness, what a thrill ride. This season, similar. We started pretty bad. It looked like we were going to have a bad season. Then we heated it up, and then we had a chance to really put it away, and then, oh, no. No, we can't make it easy. No. We can't just keep winning, get Toronto out of it. And the Golden Eyes are back in the conversation. And the Sirens are still clinging on to life. The only team that I can comfortably say are missing the playoffs at this point, it's the TOR. That's it. And honestly, who knows? Who knows at this point? Maybe the TOR are going to go on a run. We had the easy path right there. That's what hurts. Because if we even lose this game in overtime, we go into our game in hand up by a point. We still have an easy path. Just, okay, well, you know what? We lost this one, but we still got a point. We still have a lead in the playoff race, and we have a game in hand. This gives us ample opportunity to give ourselves some separation. No, now it's must win against Montreal. Now that game is like do or die. Well, not do or die, but you get what I mean. Where it's like now if you want to put yourself in a comfortable position going into your final 5 games of the season, you kind of need to win that one. Now, I'm excited that we are coming back home. We have 6 games left, 4 are at home. Now, I don't like our 2 away games. One is against Toronto. We haven't done well as the away team. We kind of need to win that game, in my opinion. And the other one is against best team in the league, Boston Fleet. I think if there's ever been a scheduled loss, it's probably that game. Now, the good news is every other game you should be able to win. You should at least be able to get something out of it. Seattle and New York, I'm going to be honest, no excuses. That's got to be 6 points. That's got to be 6 points. Facing Toronto twice, I think you need to get a minimum 3 points there. And against Montreal, we need, I'd say, at minimum a point. Honestly, I am somebody where I think just in the sense of how important that game is and what it means to the franchise, you've got to win that one. We have the CTC game. And when I say that, we had a CTC game last year, that wasn't the CTC game, okay? That was a Canadian Tire Center game that, was right at the start of the season, didn't have a lot of advertising, wasn't nearly as popular. About, 11,000 people. This game, as I'm recording, it's tomorrow. This game, it is not a 11,000. It's more of 16, 17, 18,000. That's based off of how many tickets are left, I'm guessing we're definitely seeing 16. I wouldn't be surprised if we even see up to 17. It is close to a sellout, might be a sellout when all is said and done. A lot of sections are completely sold out in like upper levels. Lower levels, yeah, no question. This game is going to be, and the seats that are available are nosebleeds. I'm talking like there are maybe 4 rows back, there might be a seat available. 3 rows back, there might be a seat available. This game is going to be packed. It's going to be the most exciting game. It is going to be the first time, maybe in my life, where I go to a game between Ottawa and Montreal in the Canadian Tire Center, where it is packed and basically everyone is cheering for Ottawa. That it isn't packed because, there's a bunch of Montreal. And let me be perfectly clear. Are there going to be people from Montreal who travel? Sure. That's not why the Sens get overrun when Montreal plays. It's because the Habs have a 100+ year history, and the Sens have 30 years. So there are a lot of people who grew up Habs fans, whose kids are Habs fans because their parents grew up Habs fans, despite living in Ottawa. It's not about the people from Montreal coming over here. It's about the people right here who cheer for Montreal despite that fact. There aren't too many people who live in Ottawa who just adopted the Victoire. There are people who, oh, well, I'm a Habs fan, so I'll cheer for the Victoire. Or, well, I'm originally from Montreal. Or, I like Poulin. She's my favorite player. I'm cheering for the Victoire. But the majority, I'd say the strong majority of PWHL fans in Ottawa are Charge fans. I'll put it to you this way. I think if you were to do a census of who you're a fan of in the city of Ottawa for hockey, in the NHL, the plurality would probably say the Sens. I do think the Ottawa Senators are the most popular team in Ottawa, but the majority probably wouldn't say the Sens. There's enough of a fan base for the Habs and the Leafs that I think if you were to combine them, plus all the other teams that also have fans here, if you were to combine them all into one super not the Sens team, that would be the majority. Now, if you do the same thing, and you would do that census, and you would ask them what PWHL team they're a fan of, and you were to take all the Scepters fans, and all the Victoires fans, and everyone else in the PWHL fans, and you were to put them into one super not the Charge team, the Charge still outnumber them like 75-25. Like, it's still overwhelmingly, no, this is an Ottawa Charge town. We cheer for the Charge. What are you talking about? You're a Victoire fan? Really? No, go Charge, go. The energy's going to be rocking, and this is our first home game against Montreal all season. Our first and only home game. So I get that they've had our number, but this has got to be that opportunity when the energy's just there. Ooh, swallowed, Ron. You have got to win this game. Because it's going to be rocking. It's going to be exciting. And this is your chance to take over again. It could have been a chance to put a lot of daylight between you and the Scepters. If we won in regulation, this would be the chance to make it 8 points. Instead, it's a chance to make it 1 or 2. But you've got to take that chance. You've got to lock in and seal this game up. Again, we just never make it easy. And it's not like we played terribly. I mean, again, shots were good. I thought that we kept pace with them. That's the nicest thing is, we've played each other twice. Both games were close. I wouldn't be surprised if the next 2 games are close. And I could see both teams walking away with 3 points. So use that game in hand, right? You've got a game in hand, and just split your game with Toronto, win your game in hand. That should still be the plan. It's still doable. But it's missed opportunity. We had 4 power play. We had a power play with 4 minutes left. 4 minutes to go. And it's the worst power play we've had all year. Did we even get more than 10 seconds of zone? We had nothing. 4 minutes to go, down by 1, chance to tie this game, send it to overtime, guarantee that you go into the next game in a playoff spot and you deliver the worst performance I've ever seen for the Charge on the power play this season. You lay an egg completely. You don't even touch the puck in their end, barely. Katarova scores. She had a really good game, but it's like we just that much more. Now again, that much more is the kind of thing where, look, next game against Toronto, maybe we get that much more. But the scores need to start goal scoring. The CTC game is going to be really exciting. We've got to bring our best hockey. Our best hockey. If we want to stay in this playoff race. Because quite frankly, Toronto has the easier schedule. And at some point, we gotta just lock in. This is that point. And, as always, go Ottawa.